This is the Fulton Podcast.
It's not that they couldn't have solved those problems. It's that they didn't. It was the arrogance of the people. I almost feel like the author didn't get that to some degree, because he or either, okay, let me rephrase that. It was either the author or the people who later made Jurassic Park. One of them missed it, because my feeling is now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably the people post Jurassic Park, because they seem to think that just because one character is always riffing on this idea of nature being this thing that you can't control, is the issue, when I think, what makes mankind unable to control something or unable to handle something is their own demons. It's their own arrogance that causes them to act that way. And that's the part that's insurmountable, and that's the more interesting aspect. I think. To it.
I think that would be a lot more interesting story, honestly. But it's true, they don't seem to get that, and I think part of the reason is
that's why they keep trying to pretend it's a nature thing and a moral question, and I don't think they fit. They don't go together.
It is really muddled. I think a lot of people think that the moral of Jurassic Park is don't make a theme park with dinosaurs, and I think of that, and then in the next second I think the point of the movies is that they did it badly. If somebody actually figured out a way to resurrect a dinosaur, you can bet your ass somebody is going to do it. And when they do, what's going to happen is either they're going to find a way to make the bars strong enough, or if it does get out, somebody is going to shoot it with a minigun from a helicopter and
not crash it.
And not crash it like in Jurassic World. But
I thought that was kind of a badass scene, but it was
think
just
about it.
And then the guy just dies for no reason.
Because at the end of the day, a dinosaur is not a killing machine. A dinosaur is an animal. And any lion, there's lions who, were man-eaters and they killed a lot of people, but it was because of the way that lions hunt, not because lions are immune to bullets.
Right.
It's because of the way that they would sneak up on people and on the workers on that railroad. Remember the ghosts
Ghosts
of
in the Darkness, or whatever.
Right. That's another movie, but it was based on a real event, and these two maneless, short-maned lions or something. I forgot what the name of them was.
That's terrifying, and you didn't even need anything fancy. They didn't take any guns away. People were walking around with guns all over the place, and they were still getting killed. I thought that was a terrifying movie.
It's a very similar themed movie, or it's similar in the same genre, but they don't need to, and that's they don't need to hit the moralizing point so hard. And I think that I saw one person who did a review of The Lost World and said that basically the entire thing, it's not really about the internal consistency of the story, because the entire thing is about how not to make a sequel. Spielberg didn't want to make a sequel, and as a result kind of made a subconscious jab at the people who wanted him to make the sequel, because it's all about how you shouldn't make a sequel. The bad guy basically wants to make a sequel park.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I think, fine. The movie definitely works better on that level. But it's still stupid.
And that's why I think you see some of the weirdness of for example, what's the main character, the girl? Not the guy's daughter, but the other lady, the former director of the park. That's why I think her character just doesn't make any sense when they go to the second movie. Yeah, Claire. Yeah. Well, that's her character in the movie anyway. Yeah. Her character just doesn't make any sense in the sequel.
In Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah, because there's supposed to be... Remember when the guy says, well, you started this, you did this whole thing? Yeah. And she's like, but I didn't, and he's like, you didn't. And, and that whole question just didn't make any sense, because she very clearly did. What made her different? Because she wasn't a bad person. That was clear. And she wasn't an evil person. So why are we slapping her with this moral aspect of things when the villain is the same guy?
It's all about giving her character reasons to do the things that she's doing. It's like you can't have somebody just do something for altruistic reasons because it doesn't hit as hard. So instead, they want the character to feel like she has something to make up. In other words, there's the park. Yeah. She was running it. Turned out when stuff went wrong, that they weren't prepared to actually help, and so a lot of people got hurt.
Yeah.
and that's part of her motivation. But that's also too dark, so they lightened it up by going, well, but she really likes the dinosaurs and thinks that they should make it.
Right. I mean, I'm sitting here going, man, there's hundreds of people who died as a result of her direction, and she has no problem with that. Like, she doesn't even think about it.
I don't even think most of it was due to her, because she's just like the PR director, and so it's her job to.
She's still the buck stops with her. You know what I mean?
Well, but it didn't. See, she wasn't the park director. Somebody else was the park director, and you had the Maserati guy. In fact, I thought Jurassic World was a lot less hard on the characters who wanted to on the corporate characters. It wasn't. They weren't the villains of it really at all. It was these military guys who show up from InGen, which make absolutely no sense because, oh, come on, why? Dinosaurs as weapons. I thought the entire thing was silly.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of great weapons that don't need any craziness.
See, the cool thing about guns, and the reason, for instance, like gas weapons. Weapons in World War I, very uncontrollable. Part of the reason nobody uses them in World War II is not because the Nazis are. It's not just because everybody knows if I start using gas weapons, you'll start using gas weapons.
Right.
That's not the only reason. The other reason is because for the same amount of cost that you can get a bunch of gas and deploy it and accidentally get it blown back onto your own lines, you can have a whole battalion of tanks or infantry, and they only shoot in one direction.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about dinosaurs.
Collateral damage drops a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like the whole point of a weapon is it only hurts what you aim it at. You know,
dinosaurs are like straight-up collateral damage machines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the whole thing. The only kind of people who would want to use a dinosaur as a weapon would probably be terrorists, and even them are going to be like, I think I'll just buy 6 AK-47s and $10,000 for 6 guys to pay to their families when they die, and then bust them into somewhere and tell them shoot everything.
Yeah, people. I mean, people are plenty easy weapons to use, and they don't cost that much. Yeah, you know. I mean, really, they don't. Yeah, if you were looking for somebody who can.
Yeah, even the least scrupulous people on Earth are not going to use dinosaurs, except for maybe like a Mexican cartel who thinks he wants to be Jabba the Hutt. He'll probably. I could definitely see like somebody going, I would buy for $300 million
a T-Rex,
and I will put it
in
my basement.
In my basement.
I would put it in my basement. Yeah. I switched from Indian accent to Mexican accent there.
You know, one of the interesting things that, we kind of just hung around, but we didn't actually talk about, which I think is also fairly interesting when we think about dinosaurs and weapons and hunting and that sort of thing. And this is part of the reason why that whole baiting thing is so scary in the first movie, where he shows a raptor, the guy's getting ready to kill him, and then the other raptor jumps him. You know
that's also directly. They had 2 or 3 scenes in the book that were just like that, which were basically like they attract your attention one way, and then the raptor would hit you from the other side, and it was really scary.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, it's like a total setup jump scare, but it's really funny because the first time they do it, you get scared. Yeah, the second time, you're like, you see a raptor, and you're like, where's the other one? Oh
shit, where's the other one? Yeah, and that's why it works, is because it's not quite a jump scare. It's more like you look for it. You know it's going to happen. Where is it coming from? Right. And it's not like it's not a matter of the it's not cheap. It's the raptors are outsmarting you.
Right.
It's not the movie it's not the director who's punishing you for just thinking not being scared for a little while. Yeah. It's the raptors who are trying to outsmart the characters, and since you are identifying with the characters, you're like, oh crap, the raptors are coming, not, oh crap, the director's going to spring a cheap scare on me.
Right. Well, and now think about this in real life, though. This is the interesting thing, is, we talk about guns, and we talk about weapons, and we're talking about how, we always have this picture of like, I take a shot at a raptor and he gets mad at me because he doesn't die. And so he just keeps running at me and he tries to tear my head off, and he just kind of bulls right through it. Yeah, that can happen, right? So if you get in a situation where you get a bull angry at you, he'll, come and try and kill you, right? Yeah. If he knows it's you. That's the weird thing, is animals don't understand ranged weapons. They don't get it. Mm-hmm. When you shoot at a deer, he'll run, but he has no idea why. Like, he might even run away from the sound because he's scared of it. Mm-hmm. But it's not because he understands that you're throwing lead at him at 3,500 feet per second.
Yeah.
That is an aspect that I think that Jurassic Park has to just jump right past. And it's the big game hunter would be able to make sense of that. And I think that's why they spent so much time in the book trying to build up the raptor's intelligence. for them to
that's-
understand that.
Yeah.
But because animals can get that eventually, right? They'll stay further away from hunters if they learn that they're armed.
There's a
you
big
know?
I
But-
can see that. You see the person and
Right.
your buddy falls down and there's a giant bang.
Right.
You learn the association with the sound. It's associated with death. You run away.
Right, but
you
like-
see the man, you leave the man alone.
Yeah.
You
But like
flee.
bison, they we killed them in the millions, and it was because you could sit off on a hill, 500 yards away and shoot bison all day because they wouldn't run away because they couldn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
They just couldn't get it, and so they just die. And I think that's
Yeah. You notice
that's
that
not
you notice that
untrue of some
Hollywood-
aspects
Hollywood
of real
makes-
dinosaurs. That
Hollywood-
would probably be true.
Hollywood
of some dinosaurs.
screws with that even when they're talking about they'll break that rule even when
Yeah.
they're talking about like zombies. Zombies have no fear, only aggression apparently. So
Right.
and so to make things harder for people like in was it the novel World War Z?
Yeah.
The zombies are attracted to loud noises, and he uses that rule specifically to limit the use of guns because
Right.
the author is focusing on the aspect about of zombies where you focus on survival, not attacking.
Right.
You have to
Right.
outsmart the zombies because there's so many of them and they're all trying to kill you. They're all hostile. Whereas, this is the thing I was also thinking about was
Dinosaurs
that
get scared; they run away.
Right.
And,
is
and,
that I
yeah,
wonder
no, that's
if it would be hilarious if you could put this in a movie and dinosaurs get scared if you blew up something or just shoot at them. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
have a loud noise and they'll like, stay at a distance and hiss at you, and
Right.
you go, I mean, imagine if you could scare away a T-Rex just by going and then going, yeah, run.
I mean, truth be told, they always amp up with how loud a T-Rex is. You're easily louder
with a gun.
with a
yeah,
You're shooting anything. You're much louder than he could be.
yeah,
And
that's scary.
yeah, that's scary to him. And not only that, he's getting hurt and he doesn't know where it's coming from. I mean, it's like imagine if you had no concept of thrown weapons, right? And then you all of a sudden start to get cuts all over your body.
Yeah, see,
you'd think there was somebody invisible fighting you. I mean,
And that-
you have no idea how to
Yeah.
handle that. And
But
some
here-
some
but
dinosaurs
here is-
will just charge at the source of the sound and hope it's there. But most of the time that's not what happens in real life.
Yeah.
They run away, and that's why big game hunting is the scary part of big game hunting is the terrain. If you're in a place where you can't see them, but they can find you or smell you or see you,
Or
then
box you in.
or box you in,
Or outrun you.
right? Then they can put you in a spot where, you may be able to shoot them, but you can't see them until they're all right on top of you. And that's what I mean.
Well, see,
Humans
this
have
is-
been fighting things
right.
that way for forever.
Yeah.
Right. They used to send people out into the woods with a spear, and you try and kill,
Usually
lions and stuff like
in
that.
large groups, though.
Not always. Not always. There are some African tribes where you were supposed to go out with like 2 or 3 people. And you know what? I totally believe that a lot of those guys did not come back. If you kill
Oh,
a
yeah.
lion with
I
a
could-
spear, I respect, my friend. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's the
Dang.
other thing is that even if you were to focus on, even if you were to make some of these aspects more realistic, I don't think it would make it less scary.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that once you know that a T-Rex is not like a zombie and it just is attracted to loud noises and eats everything in sight, that doesn't necessarily mean that once you have a gun, you're invincible. As soon as if you try to shoot a dinosaur and it realizes that if it can stomp on you or eat you, that you'll stop making the noise and hurting it, then it'll charge you. And the thing is,
once it figures that out, it's
see,
just
whenever
gonna
you
take that
have
long, yeah.
this is where a lot of, like I was saying,
dinosaurs
speed.
have very little experience with getting hunted, seeing as they were well before there were weapons. They have no notion of what that means.
But even though, I'm just talking about any animal, though.
Oh,
And
I mean, they could get used to it if they were hunted regularly, but that ain't going to happen, right?
Movie monster behavior and and real animal behavior is just so different in terms of aggression and in terms of size and speed and all that stuff. But the thing is that I'm not saying that necessarily if you've got an AR-15 and you're fighting a T-Rex, you're safe, because you are so
No.
not.
Yeah,
Because-
you're in bad place.
Right, you can empty, because the thing is that trying to hit a critical point like a brain in a skull that big not only do you have to know where it is, because just not knowing where the dinosaur's brain is means that you could empty the entire magazine into its skull and not hit it.
Yeah, especially with it having such a small brain, as we often talk about with dinosaurs.
Yes.
They don't have much of a brain sometimes. I don't know whether that impacts their ability to think, but that's why they made the raptors more intelligent than the rest of them, is because they had a better brain-to-mass ratio.
Right. I'd be a lot more confident against a raptor. But the other thing is that
well, they said the raptors were smarter. That's
right,
because
and
how
so
big their brain was.
The raptors, if the raptors figure out how to get around you and when you've run out of ammo and stuff like that. See, now you've got a scene going. You've got a problem going. It's not just the thing is running at me and it's yelling. It's
like for example, I think that it's really funny in the Jurassic World stuff because they noticed this. I think they knew it. And that's why things like the T-Rex comes in and saves the day a whole bunch of times. And that's why they had the military spin on things. Like, I can believe that this thing is a killing machine and will kill for no reason if it's a military weapon, right? If it's been genetically designed to do that.
Yeah,
and maybe you can't, maybe you'd have a hard time doing that, but, assume for the sake of the movie that they could do it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of interesting to me. Now, the T-Rex doesn't have that. So he just doesn't care about people. They're not little human McNuggets. He just doesn't care because they're too small.
I kept wondering.
I think it's a funny thing.
I think a dinosaur wouldn't, or a T-Rex would. He'd probably try to eat people, but whenever I read about them, they talk about how fast they are, and it's sort of like if you're outside of 50 yards, 100 yards, or something, and you can get between some stuff, you're pretty much safe.
Well, let's be honest. You're not worth it. I mean, you're barely a morsel.
Yeah,
he's huge. He can't spend.
He can't spend all day running after people.
Yeah, he can't expend all that energy.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's really funny. With them being that big, I doubt they corner well. I really
do. No, probably not. Well, they have that in the movies, though. That's how they would get around. Yes. It's like you'll have people walking, sort of loping along, going, "Oh no, help!" And then what was it? There was just scene after scene after scene in the Lost World where the raptors will run at somebody and then miss and just like go crashing around. They would not corner well. They would not corner well. Yeah. They would not jump well. They would not do anything. It seemed like there was always the only time you really had a problem was if you got boxed in. Right. And then, they cornered you and then it was a problem. Or if you were if there was no cover at all and they could get you in a long range sprint.
I always thought was really funny.
I still think that somebody should have just a plain old hand-to-hand fisticuffs with a raptor because that would be amazing.
Or I mean, if you just had a spear, you could handle a raptor.
Yeah,
all you have to do is keep it between it and its body and you. And
I hate how monster movies act as if as soon as a monster gets a bite into you, that you die instantly. Or you
lose all mind.
You lose all motor control and just start screaming, and then there's just ripping sounds. And I keep thinking, bro, I mean that's not even how it happens in real life because you see like leopards or lions hunt, and they have to tackle their prey, but they don't just try to rip it apart like aimlessly slashing claws around. They go straight for the jugular and clamp down on that, and that's the whole point. Is that you have the jaws. And you clamp down on the neck
until you die,
and then they just hold you till you die, or you stop struggling. And
I mean, it's not really very efficient to flay your,
they don't flay
your
them.
food alive. I mean, it's just not a very efficient.
No.
Yeah, it happens, but after they're dead,
Yeah,
I mean,
as long after they stop struggling. See, and then the nature documentaries will go on and on about how now they're being eaten alive. Yeah. See, that's where it gets nasty. But they don't want to do that. So instead, they show the PG-13 version, which is a leap, and then somebody screams, and then there's some ripping sounds, and then it cuts away.
Right. Well, and I understand that.
But I can see though, you have a dinosaur, try to bite you or whatever, and this guy gets bit on the arm, and it's trying to get him, and he, for one reason or another, it's like if you have a knife, and the thing bites you, your arm is bit, but you're in a good position. Why? Because you know where the jugular vein is, and you have a knife, and it's not going to let go.
And you have opposable thumbs.
Right, yeah. so you just stab it in the neck, and, stab.
Well, and, don't get me wrong. I mean,
eventually it bleeds out. Now,
right.
you both are
You
going
may
to
both
end
die,
up really
but- yeah.
bleeded out, and you may end up dying of infection or blood loss, but you wouldn't necessarily just die instantly and be Dino Chow.
Right. Well, and there's a funny aspect
There was
to that too.
that
because,
reminds me. There was a movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put the name in the show notes because I completely forgot what it's called. But it was about this family who's living in peace with in harmony with these lions, and they had a bunch of lions. And this movie was constantly getting into trouble because the crew and the actors and everybody was getting bit by lions like every other day. There were like 86 injuries or something, and he was constantly getting into trouble with the law as a result. It was kind of morbidly hilarious. I think they made a documentary about it later, but it was all about, guys, we can live in harmony with like the lions, man, and the lions are like, establish dominance, bite. They do nothing.
That's funny.
Maybe I will eat it. They keep escaping. Well, maybe I'll bite him again. It's like nobody got eaten, but they did get bit a lot. And the thing is that they would just bite and hold down. That's what lions do. That's what their instinct is you find prey, you bite it, and then they would fall down and they would be injured. But
that's why they have to train dogs to go for the arm. That's why you do that.
Yeah, well, the problem wasn't, whenever you see, like on a documentary, a lion or an animal or somebody bites you, the problem is almost never that it's flailing at you with both claws and just shredding you.
Now let me say this.
It'll bite you, and then you have to get it off. And then if you get it off, it'll instantly try and bite you again somewhere else. And so people will get multiple bites because they try to pry the thing down, pry the jaws off, and then it'll jump away, and you have to subdue the thing or get it to run away or whatever.
One thing I would say that's kind of interesting is I do know stories in history about people getting, straight up killed by a single blow from a lion. So it's totally possible. They can do it with a single blow.
I hadn't thought of that.
Lions are, depending on the size, probably, but some lions can totally kill somebody with one slash. And I think that's something that
I could definitely see if you were alone and there was a lion, you're definitely going. You're probably.
Without even biting you, like they'd slash your chest open, and you're just you're dead in so many places. It's
okay,
not even,
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess the main thing is just that they're so uncreative about it. To me, it just in the movies, it's always the same thing. You have a scream, or the monster confronts the victim. There's a, oh no, stop, and then the monster goes roar, and then there's tearing sounds and screaming, and they're dead.
Well, let's be clear. The animal's trying to do something, and he's got a plan, and he's not crazy. He doesn't just flail his arms, and I think that's the part we don't get, and that's the terror they're trying to get across, is that we don't understand that.
Yeah, but
the truth is,
they always do it the same way, and it always looks like what they're doing is they're trying to get the actor to frame where the CGI dinosaur is going to go.
So the dinosaur just turns into a mobile meat grinder, and it would have the equivalent.
Yeah, exactly.
Effect,
and there's no creativity to it. There's no after the third or fifth time I just go, and the sound effects and the dinosaur and
cue the
falling.
scream,
Yeah, it's
yep. But I definitely would say, I love most of the Jurassic Park movies, and it would be really cool to see dinosaurs. That would be, it presents some interesting problems.
I wonder if there's some other way to do it. Part of the charm of the original Jurassic Park is just seeing dinosaurs and humans next to each other in a movie. Most of half of the incidents in the movie don't involve people being killed by dinosaurs or chased by dinosaurs at all. It's just, hey, look, there's a brachiosaurus, and I was sitting in a tree, and suddenly it ate something next to me, and I went, oh crap, and then and then you just stand there, and and also I'd like to see them. Something you never see them do is use a herbivore as a weapon of war, and honestly, when you're
except when they buy the Ankylosaurus, they love doing that.
What?
They love the Ankylosaurus that always beats up things.
Yeah, but it
always loses.
But it never goes after the people. See, and the thing is that in real life, herbivores are almost equally aggressive if you get close to them, because
hippos and elephants kill more people
they're not hunting
than
you.
sharks.
They're thinking in defensive terms, I guess, but that almost makes it worse, because
they think in herd defensive terms, I mean, and if you're too close to something that they care about, they will smash you.
If you get too close to an elephant's baby or something, they will get super pissed off and they will try to stomp you into mush, and they'll chase you for a long way.
I think elephants will even be territorial sometimes. The bulls will straight up just kill you because you're in their way.
Yeah. It's like they do that. It's not just a meat eater thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, for example, horses injure people all the time, and it's not because they're trying to hurt you. A lot of times it's because they don't realize how big they are, and they step on your foot and break your foot.
Yeah.
It's like,
sorry.
When you weigh, half a ton, I mean, that's kind of rough,
Yeah. Well, they also have, remember Hatari, that scene in Hatari where a couple of the characters are out. The journalist girl is taking the three baby elephants.
They should have a
out.
Dino Hatari.
That would be hilarious.
I would pay for a ticket to see that.
That would be amazing.
It would be hilarious.
If you don't know what Hatari is, it's a really old movie with John Wayne in it, where he and his crew of guys go out and they capture animals for zoos. They're in Africa, and that's what they do.
Awesome.
They find. They gotta. It's the kind of movie that would never ever get made today, but it is really a very fun movie. And they have a scene in it where, one of the female leads is out, and she's kind of become a pseudo mother to this bunch of orphan elephants who lost their mothers, not due to anything the protagonists have done. And so she's taking the three baby elephants out, and they go to the water hole and get them all washed off, and then they run into this herd of wild elephants that are just kind of passing through.
Yeah.
And John Wayne's character comes up and scares them off with the gun. But he doesn't shoot at them, he shoots up in the air, because, of course, if you shoot the bull elephant immediately
stomp you.
because
unless you get it right the first time.
See, this is what I'm talking about, is that what John Wayne's character does upon seeing the elephants is that he knows that even though he's much smaller than them, he can still scare them. And so when the bull elephant's posturing, the bull elephant comes out and goes, and tries to scare John Wayne's character, but John Wayne knows he can't leave until, the girl and the baby elephants are gone. So he stands his ground, and this is something a lot of people will tell you, is don't run away from an animal, stand your ground. And I think, would you give this kind of advice to a character in a Jurassic Park movie?
Yeah.
It's like, nobody would ever give that advice to somebody confronted by a T-Rex. Or a raptor. And I keep thinking, what if they did, though? What if, since you stand your ground, I think it would work for a raptor, but not for a T-Rex. But think about it. You stand your ground in front of the raptor, and go hurrah, and then you yell at it, and it goes, well, dang, thinks it can take me on. I'm going to leave it alone. Find something else.
Yeah,
that would be kind of a hilarious scene, wouldn't it?
It would.
Anyway, so John Wayne's character, he's standing there, and the elephant's rah-rahing at him, and it runs, and it kind of does a fake charge, and then when it does that, not before, but when it does that, John Wayne's character shoots a couple of shots, and the elephant stops and kind of goes, okay, fine, I think I made my point, and leaves him alone. The elephants wander off, and the point is, you see, there's a dynamic going on between John Wayne's character and an elephant.
Yeah,
there's dialogue going on. You could do that in a Jurassic Park movie, and they never do it. Why? Because the dinosaurs have to be these unstoppable horror killing machines.
Well, they try to do it a little bit with Blue, the raptor.
Oh, right, but she's the only friendly dinosaur in any of the movies.
Yeah, they just make her friendly, which I thought made...
And it's only because she's super intelligent. Elephants really aren't that intelligent.
They're pretty intelligent.
They're about dinosaur intelligent,
They're
I would
probably
say.
about, like raptor intelligence.
If you were going to compare a dinosaur to anything that exists now, it would be an elephant.
Yeah.
So.
Well, except for a crocodile, of course.
Or a crocodile. or a bird.
But you'll notice that crocodiles.
Dinosaur covers a lot of ground. Big dinosaur.
Crocodiles don't kill that many people. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, though, crocs are also really hard to kill with bullets.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But probably it's largely due to, like I said, their internal organs are pretty well ensconced.
Yeah.
And they're
and they have big bony heads.
they have big bony heads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it's hit muzzle most of the time, probably.
Yeah. You'd probably be best off trying to kill a croc.
Well, let's be honest. You could totally kill a croc by shooting it.
Oh yeah, you just
a lot of people
you just
do
have to get far enough back from it and be sure to. Honestly, I bet if you tried to attack,
like I said, you shoot
croc
something from
behind,
far enough away, it doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
If it can't see you and you're shooting it, I mean, this is true of humans too. If you're shooting at somebody and they can't see it,
Plink.
Snipers shoot. I think the longest
Plink.
range shot they had was like a mile and a half, some crazy distance.
Huh.
And the guy fired 17 rounds or something. He fired 17 shots, and most of them were probably so far away that the guy couldn't even tell
I can
that he was getting
believe
shot
that.
at. You know,
that would be a hilarious opening.
if you're just
scene.
hearing
Can you
thunder
imagine?
and then things are like just barely flacking around you, and you can't really tell that you're getting shot at, you might not think anything of it. you know?
Yeah, maybe not. Well, anyway, I think with that we'll bring this discussion to a close. Thank you so much for listening.
It's a lot of fun, as always.
This has been the Fulton Podcast. Please ring the bell and subscribe. If you'd like to support us, you can buy my book in the link in the description below. And if you like the show, leave us a comment. And if you didn't like the show, also comment. Until next time, I've been John Fulton.
I'm Matthew Fulton.
And see you later.